Do you guys remember where you were when Jeffrey Epstein died? Oh, sorry, died. I'm sorry. I need to add this disclaimer. You don't think about this? Just like, you know? No, not at all? No. Well, heads up, I'm going to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein for like 20 minutes. Yikes, wrong show. Well, I have to, because Trump tweeted, "Stop talking about Epstein" in all caps, so I said, I'm going to do a whole special on it. And what better place than a movie theater in New Hope? Welcome to my screening of the documentary, The Epstein Files, unraveled in Minnesota. Sorry we couldn't do this in Duluth. I apologize. I feel like it would have been better received there. But the Epstein Files, which were definitely a missed opportunity to call them the pedophiles. Just saying, comedy's comedy. I'm against pedophilia, by the way. I hope that I make that statement very, very clear here. The reason why I'm talking about this, there's a lot of reasons, and I'll tell you about them later. But number one is I'm against pedophilia, and I think you should all be, and I think that's why we should be talking about exactly this issue right now. Okay. When Jeffrey Epstein disappeared, I was in Cleveland, so I don't know who had it worse that night. But I told that joke in Cleveland. They loved it. They got it. Okay. But I've been trying to piece these things together because I wasn't really paying attention back then. Because this happened in 2019 when he disappeared from his jail cell, and that seems like the before times, right? 2019 was ages ago. They even named a disease after it. And then we went and moved on, and our lives have changed in the last 6 years alone. And I think about how fast the news cycle moves now. It's incredible. We're at a higher frequency, but not in a good way. Just think about how many things have just happened this year, and how many things that shouldn't be eventful events were eventful events, like Super Bowl halftime, right? That was huge this year. And it was crazy that this year we witnessed a famous person in the public eye basically say straight up to the public about another person, he likes them young. Yeah, it was crazy when Elon did that to Trump. This whole year is basically the Super Bowl halftime. That's basically what it is. And that's why I'm just waiting for the Palestine protesters to show up and hold up the Palestine and Sudan flag. So the Trump administration said they were going to release the Epstein files, and then suddenly they did not. And I'm still trying to figure out why. It's almost as if they're trying to protect someone. And I would just need 20 more photos of that person with Jeffrey Epstein to get an idea of who it is. I've seen about 80 so far, but I need 20 more to give myself the full 100. You know what I mean? But yeah, the hundo. yeah. But so Kash Patel, who sounds like a motel chain. All right, that's a racist joke, okay, if you understand it. But who wouldn't like a cash-only motel chain? That would be pretty cool. He has career options if he resigns, is all I'm saying. Kash Patel was on Joe Rogan a month ago, and this is when I knew something was very, very off, because he was very adamant about releasing the files a couple months ago, and then suddenly he was saying, Joe, I don't have the client list. Don't you think if I had the client list, I would release it? No. You're assuming that we trust you, which we do not. You work for the FBI. That's the last agency that we trust after all the other government ones. You know what I mean? And then he was using very suspicious body language during that interview. He had these nervous twitches when he was bro, I'm telling you, it was a suicide. You know it's suicide when you see one. Why did you just sniff? You weren't doing cocaine before this. Why did you just sniff? Super suspicious. Also, side note, his girlfriend might be an Israeli spy. We don't know yet. We're still looking into it. Okay. So that's Kash Patel. Then you got Bondi and Bongino, which sounds like an Italian law firm. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, said in February, I have the Epstein files on my desk. And then they asked her like a week ago, and she's like, I don't even have a desk. What are you talking about? I never said Epstein files? No, I said I had Epsom salts. That's what I said. I had Epsom salts, and I was about to take an Epsom salt bath. And so now, because they completely botched this whole situation, Kash Patel is now saying, like, if Pam Bondi doesn't resign, I will. You know, and Bongino's like, I might resign too. It's like, all y'all motherfuckers need to resign, okay? You've all been compromised. Don't you understand? Now, if you're not fully aware by now, Trump and Epstein were boys. Okay, they were boys. They even had a musical group together. It was called the Island Boys. I'm an island boy. That was their first hit. Don't look it up. You won't be satisfied either way. But yeah, Trump and Epstein were friends. Now, Trump tries to pretend like he's not as much of a friend as Jeffrey Epstein said they were, because Jeffrey Epstein claimed in an interview that him and Trump were best friends for a decade. And if you look at the pictures, it really looks like that. But Trump says that's not the case. And I'm not saying believe Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm saying if it's between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, I'm going with the dead guy. You know, but Trump's side of the story is Trump says that he stopped being friends with Epstein. In fact, Trump's team says they banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago in 2007 for being creepy. Do you know how creepy you have to be to get banned from Mar-a-Lago? That's like an insane level of creepiness. Like, obviously, Trump has a perfect track record of women, obviously. But Trump has a lot of accusations against him. He's probably got like 100 or so accusations against him. But Epstein has like 1,000. So we're talking like power of 10 difference in levels of creepiness. Yeah, sorry, math is involved. Not only is Trump pretending he didn't know the guy, there was a conference where Trump was sitting with Pam Bondi, and they were asking her about Epstein. And he interjected, he's like, what? Are you guys talking about Jeffrey Epstein? It's like, no, his brother Mark. Who do you think? Just totally pretending like he didn't know the guy. And we're not falling for it. He tweeted like 10 times the last week, like, stop talking about Epstein. It's a hoax. Why are you guys still talking about Epstein? I'm not thinking about Epstein. Why are you guys thinking about Epstein? I've moved on. I'm so moved on from Epstein. Why are you guys still talking about it? Even weirder part is that his supporters are like, you know what? He's right. We should, I know we cared about Epstein so much, but you know what? He's our president. And by God, I believe what he says. Trump, yeah, so let him get back to draining the swamp that's inside of him right now. Let's let him get back to draining the swamp that appears to be only inside of his head. People always say that Trump dog whistles, and I'm starting to get that now, because people are like, ooh, you know, like he says something, they're like, ooh. And it's funny how people are even defending him in the sense they're like, come on. If Trump was in the Epstein files, don't you think that Biden would have released it to get him? It's like, no, because Biden's in that motherfucker too. Do you not get it? They're all in on this Okay, and even if Biden's not in it directly, one of his friends is, hashtag Bill Clinton. Somebody in the very small circle, or oval, I should say, it's somebody there. Okay, honestly, I don't think that Biden was on Epstein Island, because that's a lot of plane stairs to go up and down, and I don't think he's equipped for that. I think Epstein was like, we don't do liability waivers. I don't think we can have this guy. It just makes you realize how creepy all of our presidents are, right? It's basically confirmed that Trump's a pedophile. Biden was sniffing young girls' hair. That's not good. But, you know, hopefully that's just where it stopped, you know? And then Bill Clinton was Bill Clinton. And then I know liberal crowds get mad when I bring up Obama, okay? But he did have some, you know, I guess allegations that he was doing some fellatio for some drugs once. I'm not gonna put that rumor out there, but he did drone strike Syria, so I'm gonna put the rumor out there, just for tonight. It really just makes you appreciate George W. Bush just a little bit. Just a little bit, 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 just a little bit. You know what I mean? I get it, George W. Bush, horrible person, right? In Iraq war, decades of pointless conflict, okay, but family man, okay? A little cocaine, okay? A little cocaine, family man, you know what I mean? He couldn't go to Epstein Island, he was doing art. at home, you know? Okay. So Trump's almost definitely implicated, and Elon seems to have some inside information here. I know, like, I don't like a lot of the things that Elon does and says, but I don't think he's lying. I don't think ketamine makes you lie. You know what I mean? He's basically the only private detective we have left in this situation. He's our he's special K detective. Special K unit. He's out there like, oh, Minorities involved, and then we're gonna go directly to Mars. And by the way, the big beautiful bill is not beautiful at all. Because if it was, I would have asked it to bear my child. It's one big show. We don't know exactly who all of the people were who associated with Epstein, aside from all the very detailed flight logs. We don't know all the people, but we do know that somebody in the government considered him a good hang. Okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, take all the time you want with that one. I mean, it takes a little while for the oxygen to leave the brain, so we'll take our dear time. We don't have the conclusive evidence that we want or need, so I think the best next step is to check the surveillance tapes of Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell. Maybe that'll give us a good hint as to what happened. Yeah, does anybody have access to those tapes? Oh, they're actually released to the public. Awesome. Oh, there's a missing minute. You don't say. There was a missing minute in the surveillance tapes released directly to us from the DOJ, our trusted father. Now, here's the crazy thing. They say that the surveillance tape system at Jeffrey Epstein's high-security prison was from the 90s. It was very old school. They recorded on VHS, I guess. And it had just one-track audio. And apparently, the video system needs to reset every night, right around midnight, which is the time that Jeffrey Epstein was allegedly killed, and that his cellmates nearby said they heard someone visiting at the prison cell. Right around that time is when the tapes just stopped for a minute. And I believe the government. Because with the budgets right now, it's hard to get updates on your video surveillance, especially for high security prisons like that. Isn't that crazy? They expect us to believe that a high security prison is using a video surveillance system from the 90s in 2019. The government can spy on us in 4K, but it can't record federal prisons in more than 720p. And so there was a missing minute, and that's what, at a conference, a reporter was asking Pam Bondi. He's like, hey, what's up with that missing minute? And she's like, yeah, we're looking into that. We just have to check with the prison to see if the tapes reset every night like that. So we're just checking. We're like, okay, well, let us know. They haven't told you yet? She's like, they haven't got back to us. They use voicemail. So everything's still in the 90s. Their voicemail box was full, basically, so they're gonna let us know. And then it turned out, the news came out about a week ago that the tape was doctored. Yes, the tape was fabricated by, we don't know who, but whoever it was, they used Adobe Premiere. Shout out, brand loyalty. Yeah, if anything, this was a big L for DaVinci Resolve, because they're like, damn, we could have had that credit. The Epstein tapes, that's huge. And somebody determined that they stitched together 2 different video tracks and 2 different audio tracks using Adobe Premiere. Yeah, shout out to Adobe, dude. Good job. Shout out to Adobe, man, but not shout out to Microsoft, because he was there. Okay. Open the gates of hell. Okay. So they use Adobe Premiere and they stitched together this tape, and I find it kind of inspiring how technology has improved over the years. You know what I mean? Because like somebody in the government made this tape in 2019 thinking they're not going to figure this out. I have the latest edition of Adobe Premiere. I just did the 2019 software update. They'll have no idea what hit them. 6 years later, they had no idea that AI was going to take everybody's job and be like, that's a fake. And then it came out a few days later that it wasn't even a missing minute. It was a missing 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Right? Well, that's a game changer. right? Because beforehand, people were like, well, it's just a minute. You know, like, well, even said that, like a minute historically was enough for Jeffrey Epstein to get finished. But, okay, bad joke. Okay, bad joke. Sorry, guys. But 2 minutes, 53 seconds, you can kill like 5 people in that time. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know personally. I'm just saying, it's a lot of time for the tape to go blank. You know what I'm saying? So that's weird. But is he dead? We'll find out. Actually, I'm going to reveal at the very end. So we know for a fact that some video editor, proficient in Adobe Premiere, was sitting behind a screen deleting something that happened that night, some strange thing that happened that night right outside of Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell, and then stitched together things with apparently no guilty conscience. So a human being literally removed something that could implicate this and bring justice to this whole situation. They removed it and stitched the video together in a complete fabrication to trick the general public into seeing something that did not in fact happen. I think that we need to find that editor. And I would like to hire him, because that is amazing work. That is amazing work. A lot of the times I tell a joke and certain parts don't work and I would just like to cut it out. But my editors, they don't know how to do the crossfades and merge the 2 audio tracks together. Honestly, this joke's not doing as well as I hope, so I'm going to edit in laughter later. I'm going to stitch together another audio track. So anyways, if you know that editor, shout out, give him my number. But, okay. The world at this point wants to see the Epstein files. And here's the truth. Here's what I realized, okay? I really don't think that there are Epstein files. I think the government has a lot of information. Some of it they're not releasing. But I think that most of it already exists on this place called the internet. Yeah, so if you want to see the Epstein files, I looked at them. It's called Wikipedia. Just Wikipedia Jeffrey Epstein, and you'll basically see enough. You'll see more than you even want to know. I'll tell you that much. So what I'm saying is I read the Epstein files, and I'm releasing them here tonight at New Hope at my screening. The Epstein files, uncensored. Footnote, we had to double check this on Wikipedia. I am against pedophilia, okay? And I think we need to be doing more as a society to stop it. And I think we're not. In this country, when people get an offense for pedophilia, they get put on a list. Like, that's insane. That's not proactive. Like, we need to stop people before anything happens. And so I have an idea. I think we all need to go down to the grocery store and watch who's buying their bananas green. Yeah, think about it. Those aren't ready yet, but they still want them. These are the people we need to be watching out for. The green banana buyers. Oh, I see some angry faces. I buy my bananas green. Well, you're a pedophile. Now we know. Buy the bananas yellow like a normal adult. Or with the brown spots if you like them mature. You know how to do it. Get the bananas the correct way. Furthermore, this country has an institutionalized system of protecting pedophiles, and we need to become aware of it, and we need to call it out. It needs to stop now. And to all the people saying, like, well, Jeffrey Epstein got away with it just because he was rich and famous. Like, no, then why is Jared from Subway still in jail? And anybody who's studied this Epstein case, or read the Wikipedia article, would know that this goes beyond powerful people just trying to protect a single pedophile. There's intelligence involved. There's intelligence involved. There's central intelligence involved. If only there was an agency that would be in charge of the central intelligence, maybe we could figure out who the culprit is here. Okay? I'm talking about the CIA, guys. You guys weren't sure. The CIA, I don't know if you know about this beautiful institution, but they've done a lot of bullshit over the years. And a lot of the people who work for CIA are horrible people, and some of them convicted pedophiles. And some of them are pedophiles that were never prosecuted. Look it up. There's been CIA officers historically that were not charged for pedophilia. This is bullshit. CIA actually stands for Can't Identify Age. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. We know that this goes even beyond the CIA. We know it goes beyond our intelligence, and we know if you look at the case, you would know a foreign entity is involved. Okay? Now, I don't want to depress you guys with conspiracy theories. That might make you Mossad. But I'm just saying, there's enough evidence now that it's not a conspiracy. It is real. 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 Nothing to see here, folks. I do have to be careful talking about this, because if I talk too much about Epstein, his lawyer could still come after me. Isn't that crazy? Epstein's dead, but his lawyer is still active for him. Alan Dershowitz. You guys know Alan Dershowitz? Yeah, sleazy guy. He was recorded to be on Epstein's island. He has allegations against him, and he's still Epstein's lawyer. So if I talk too much about Epstein, I could get sued by Alan Dershowitz. And for the same reason, I can't talk too much about Israel. If I talk too much about the Israel-Epstein connection, Israel's lawyer could come after me. Also Alan Dershowitz. How many more clues do you need? Okay? But it's just a theory, right? It's just a theory supported by a lot of facts at this point, because all the things add up. All of this happened to happen right when Netanyahu was coming to the United States to do his laundry. That's what he does every time. He brings his dirty laundry. And once you start to put it together, you realize that the whole Epstein sex trafficking thing was not just about one extremely perverted man. It was about a whole operation to gather intel on powerful people. When you see the whole time that Jeffrey Epstein had surveillance cameras in his house, and much better than the ones in his prison, ironically. And there's thousands of hours of tape out there somewhere that have not been stitched together in Adobe Premiere. They haven't even been exported yet. And when you connect the dots, which I did one night, you realize it all points back to Israel. And that's why sometimes people are like, why are you talking about Epstein so much? It's like, bro, I talk about Palestine, and I truly believe, obviously, I want to free Palestine, obviously. Okay? And the things that are holding back the Free Palestine is like the lying media, AIPAC buying our politicians, just misinformation campaigns. And there's all sorts of levels to the whole movement that's trying to prevent Palestine from becoming free. But I'm telling you, and I'm calling it right now, the Epstein Files is the final boss. The Epstein Files is the final boss because it's controlling the most powerful people. Look at when Palestine almost became free in the 90s with the Oslo, right? Who was brokering that deal that they rightfully so didn't take? It was Bill Clinton, right? And now, who's basically letting the takeover of the West Bank happen and the repopulating of Gaza and initiating that? Trump, who's like he was his bud, okay? So all of the signs point to this. And that's why it is important. And that's why I was up on Wikipedia all night last night. Trying to gather information on when did Epstein turn from just a person into a spy. There was many points in history where Epstein told other people that he was intelligence. There's instances where he even said he was Mossad. And he was depressed too, but for those of you who don't know, Mossad is Israel's intelligence agency, and they're like everywhere. There's probably like 2 of them here tonight. Hi. Say hi for camera. They're like, this is not good. But yeah, so I was trying to figure out like when this all happened. He went to Israel a bunch of times. He actually went to Israel during one of the times where he was on parole or probation. He spent a lot of time in Israel because he was legally allowed to go there. Israel basically has a system where pedophiles can escape from other countries and take safe haven there. It's only offered to Jewish citizens of Israel. It's not Muslims. And I'm pointing this out because that just shows how f***ed up Israel is. They've even apartheided pedophilia. Okay? So if you don't know, now you know. Okay? Because was that a phone call? That's fucking so scary. That was like an old school phone too. It was like ring, 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 it's the FBI. It's just Kash Patel on the other line, like. But I wanted to look it up. I wanted to see, like, who is Jeffrey Epstein actually? And I looked it up. Jeffrey Epstein was born in Brooklyn, which is one of the 5 boroughs that Zoran won, actually. Yeah. Figured I'd perk you guys up for a second before we get into the dark shit. Jeffrey Epstein he had what was considered a normal childhood, which is the first red flag. Parents, do not give your kids a normal childhood. Give them some trauma like the rest of us. It levels the playing field. Like, this guy got both of his parents' love for the whole term. No, f that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not telling you what to do, but just give him a little adversity, you know what I mean? Like, verbally abuse him a little bit, you know what I mean? It can be passive aggressive if you want. Gaslighting is perfectly okay for a parent. But Epstein's parents loved him, okay? And they even had a nickname for him. They called him Bear. And that's probably why he grew up to think he was qualified for a honeypot operation. That's the operation that he was doing. It's called the honeypot operation. If you guys didn't know, that's why the joke makes sense. They call it a honeypot operation when they try to attract people with something they think they like, and that's what he did. Okay, so I'll explain more jokes if you need help with those later. We'll do like Wikipedia, I'll have some footnotes too. I'll try to go through this quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on this guy, obviously. But I had to write. I came hard with the EpiPen tonight, if you know what I mean. Come on. So Jeffrey Epstein actually finished high school at 16, which, again, don't do that, okay? Just, like, make sure your kids experience prom, all right? He went on to take advanced math courses in college, which I'm not proud of, okay? I'm not proud of this at all. We don't claim him, okay? He studied math, but he studied physiological math, which is the creepiest math out there, yeah. It's the math of the human body. Yeah, like, don't mix those two things, okay? And he studied math, which somehow makes what he did worse, because it's not like he could be like, oh, I didn't know the age. Like, you can subtract, you know what I mean? He didn't finish college, thank God. I don't have the same degree as him. But he then went on to teach at what was called the Dalton School in New York, which is a very popular school. And he got this job from a guy named Donald, not Trump, but Donald Barr, yes, who happens to be the father of Bill Barr, the Attorney General during the time of the Epstein case. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy here at all. I'm just saying, what a f***ing coincidence, you know what I mean? And I would know this because I know stats. I majored in math. What are the chances? What are the chances? But of course, this is all covered up. If you try to Google the relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and former Attorney General Bill Barr, if you put that into Google, you won't really get anything because all you'll get is a bunch of unrelated articles on the Epstein-Barr virus, which is completely different. What the There's a virus called the Epstein-Barr virus that has nothing to do with these guys. It's a completely different Epstein and a completely different Barr, but also somehow a virus. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually herpes, which is just proof that this is not going to go away for a long time. It needs to be treated right now. Sorry if you're not liking these jokes. I'll raise the bar. People said that Epstein was a creepy teacher, which is like shocking. He would actually show up at students' parties and like try to talk to them and hang out with them. So he got fired for that behavior, which just goes to show there's actually justice in academia sometimes. The Dalton School in the 70s. And you can see that. You can envision Epstein being like, oh man, I can't just talk to the students freely. I wish I had my own island for this, you know what I mean? And then he did. What the f***, dude? So the signs were there. He studied the creepy math. He was a creepy teacher. And then he gets an island on the Virgin Islands? Come on, dude. Like, the signs were there. There's teen in his name, Epstein. Like, the signs were there, is what I'm saying. So he left academia. And he became a day trader, which is how it starts for a lot of evil people. And he got fired for a violation there. So this guy keeps, taking L's. And then he becomes a consultant, which, let's face it, not a real job. Sorry, guys. Like, it's like, just become a therapist. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to talk to people. Ooh, a lot of consultants in here. That's fine. But he became a consultant. That's what people say when they don't really know what they do. I'm a consultant. I say things. I'm a consultant, too. I'm a comedy consultant. I consult people on how to laugh. But Jeffrey Epstein was a consultant in the 80s, and this is where things started to get weird, because during this time, he would actually tell people that he was intelligence, and he told people that he was a foreign spy, and he was actually found to have foreign passports from that time. One of them had his birthplace listed as Saudi Arabia. And this actually checks out because he did a lot of business in Saudi Arabia in the 80s. In fact, in the 80s, one of his biggest clients, so we know he had clients back then, what? Consulting clients, of course. One of his biggest clients was a guy named Adnan Khashoggi, who was a prominent figure in Saudi Arabia, who worked with Epstein to basically finance the Iran-Contra affair in the 80s, where Israel funneled weapons into Iran to spur a regime change, which is not relevant to now at all. And Epstein was the forefront of financing that whole operation with Adnan Khashoggi. And during this time, Epstein became acquainted with a lot of people in Saudi Arabia, and it was later revealed, according to Epstein, that he was friends with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Can you turn off the tapes for this one? Good. Checking. Audio's off too. Hot mic is off. Cool. So MBS, I don't know if you know about this guy, but not controversial at all. And Epstein claims that he was friends with MBS. And MBS claims he was not friends with Epstein. And again, in this case, I'm gonna believe the dead guy. Because you're seeing this pattern a lot. Obviously, MBS did not like that Epstein was claiming that he was friends, but I don't think he would have Epstein killed. I mean, MBS has never done that with anybody, according to him. You see, the people are laughing because MBS did allegedly, again, not according to him, MBS did have someone killed, a prize journalist in Saudi Arabia named Jamal Khashoggi. What the f***? That's the same last name as the guy that Epstein worked with. Could that be a coincidence? How many Khashoggis do you know? Like, honestly, how many Khashoggis do you know? Turns out, Jamal Khashoggi was actually the nephew of Adnan Khashoggi. So Epstein worked with the uncle of the guy and then met MBS somewhere along the way. MBS claims he never met Epstein. And then suddenly, not only Epstein goes away, the journalist nephew of the guy Epstein worked with. I'm not making a connection here. I'm just stating obvious facts. All right, tape's back on. So MBS is a great guy, and that's basically what I just said in that last part. Somebody might notice that this tape has a missing minute, but I have great editors, so don't you worry. Okay. Adobe, shout out Adobe Premiere. No, my editors use DaVinci, so it's not going to look as smooth. After that, Epstein met this guy named Leslie Wexner, who was the CEO of Victoria's Secret. Another red flag. And then Epstein started like basically recruiting models, even though he wasn't in that, he was just a financer, but he would have like parties at his house where he had like Victoria's Secret models. He was like the Harvey Weinstein of finance at this point, basically. Okay, guys, listen. I don't know why Jeffrey Epstein is probably worse than Harvey Weinstein, so I don't know why you would ooh at Harvey Weinstein, but you're like, Epstein's all right. So he worked for this guy, Leslie Wexner, and this is where he made a lot of money. And Leslie Wexner, if you don't know, huge Zionist, like huge Zionist. And also during this time, he became acquainted with Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father, I believe Robert Maxwell, was allegedly a spy, allegedly was Mossad. And when he passed away, she got his inheritance, and that's when she started becoming friends with Epstein, and suddenly they both had a lot of money to pool together to do all sorts of crazy shit with the Clintons, okay? Delete that part too, because you've seen in a lot of pictures, Epstein knew the Clintons, like both of them, okay? Now, the Clintons would never have anyone killed. Don't look into it too much, but they would never do that. They would never do that. The way he plays the saxophone is too sweet and innocent. So all I'm saying is, Epstein worked with a lot of people, so there's a lot of suspects. There's a lot of motherfuckers who wanted this guy dead. It ended up being like a game of Clue. You know what I mean? Or I don't know if you ever seen like the movie Clue. It was like a bunch of people wanted to kill this guy, and they probably all double booked. And that's why they had to cut a whole 2 minutes, 53 seconds. Because they're like, you're here with the wrench, I'm here with the noose. Like, come on, man. Come on. So I think that's what happened. I think they all just scheduled the same night because they knew that was the night. And they knew that the tapes probably do reset for a minute. They thought they hadn't made it, but they ended up taking 2 minutes, 53 seconds. So they had to use Adobe Premiere to finish the job. And it was like 3 people arguing over who gets to kill him first, and that's when Epstein snuck out and got choppered out by Mossad. But I'm just a conspiracy theorist. So now everybody wants to know the client list, but again, it's on Wikipedia. You don't need an official client list. Plus, he didn't have clients, okay? They were independent contractors. Let's be honest, like nobody was getting W-2s, okay? It was W-9s. Ask the IRS, they're probably in on this shit too, so yeah. You guys know the difference between a W-2 and a W-9? Good, well, Jeffrey Epstein couldn't tell the difference between a W-17 and 18, so. Okay, all right. So Jeffrey Epstein, he purchased an island called Little St. James, which is also the nickname for his I know, a little grotesque, but you've seen the documentaries. Like, that's why we believe what the women are saying, because they all had the same story. They said he had a shaped like an egg. Ugh! That's even traumatizing for me, because eggs are so expensive right now. The crazy thing is that many times Epstein got caught for what he was doing, but every time they let him off the hook, because if you look it up on Wikipedia, every time Epstein caught a case, somebody would show up in a suit and be like, let this guy go, he's higher up than you than ranking. And this happened in the early 2000s when Epstein got like big time busted in Florida. And the district attorney, or like the lawyer who was prosecuting him, Alex Acosta, was gonna give him a heavy sentence, but then somebody showed up and said he's higher on the payroll than you. And so he had to break him off a lenient sentence, or what they call a sweetheart deal. Bad name. They had to give him a sweetheart deal, and Alex Acosta, he even says, he's like, yeah, I was planning on giving him a sentence, but somebody told me that he was higher up, so I had to give him a sweetheart deal. Which is crazy. So you would think that after that, like, somebody owes Alex Acosta a favor. So years later, he became Secretary of Labor under Trump, and completely unrelated. But yeah, something you should know about that sweetheart deal is that they made a deal where anybody who was associated with Epstein at that time was cleared from guilt for the future. And Trump was associated with Epstein at that time. So that's something you do need to know, because Trump and Epstein actually had a case that was filed against them. A case that was filed against both of them. A woman who said in the 90s that she was abused by both Epstein and Trump. She filed the case multiple times. There was witnesses and everything. And then the case suddenly disappeared around November 2016. I can't really put my finger on what might have happened around that time. But the case was dropped, and the woman has since disappeared from record that we know. So I think Trump killed him. So I think Trump killed him. But again, we have to keep playing the game of Clue. We know Epstein was a creepy guy. He got massages like 3 times a day. That's why, like, for the sake of everybody involved, like, we need justice, okay? We need justice, okay? We need a happy ending. Okay, sorry. Little trivia about Jeffrey Epstein that I learned along the way. He went gray very early, but he never used hair coloring product. Which, that's something. That's a lot of confidence, especially hanging out with younger folks. I mean, never use hair coloring product once. You know, some people get one gray, they're like, oh my God, I gotta change my life. Not him. So you could say he never died. But here's the thing. If Jeffrey Epstein is still alive, he would have to be somewhere that actively protects pedophiles. Now, I can't think of a region that has a history of doing that. I'll have to look into it more. I have to spend more time as a detective. but that would be a full-time occupation. I'm talking about Israel, guys. I'm talking about Israel. I just sold my first movie script. Yeah. It's an Adam Sandler film. Hear me out. Okay? In this movie, Adam Sandler plays a Muslim. He plays a Muslim who's running for mayor of New York City. It's called Don't Mess with the Zoran. You guys know who Zoran Mamdani is? Zoran Mamdani won the Democratic primary for mayor of New York City, but you would think that he's already mayor the way that people are talking about him. It seems like people either love him or they hate him, but for the exact same reasons. I like that Zoran won because he's anti-establishment. He's making waves in the system. He is. And I like that. I also like that Mamdani won because he helped balance a couple things out for me. A couple weeks ago, I was finding myself agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene a little too much. And all I needed were her thoughts on something else to help remind me. 2 weeks ago, she was like, we gotta stop giving money to Israel, we gotta not have war with Iran. I was like, you preach, sister, right? I was like, God bless her, okay? About to get my MTG tattoo on my arm. And then Zoran wins, and she posts a picture of the Statue of Liberty in hijab, and I'm like, thank God. I was about to follow her. She retweeted somebody's photo of a Statue of Liberty with a hijab over it saying, this hits hard. Which is like, aside from being racist and Islamophobic, it's like, that actually would protect the statue from rust. You actually could use that. Have you seen Lady Liberty lately? She's looking a little crusty, to be honest. Like, not modest at all. Lady Liberty already has the dress all the way down to the feet. Like, just why not finish the job? Finish the hijab. Mamdani is divisive for a lot of reasons, and that's great. That's great. I love it. I love drama. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even from New York City. I just like watching drama from a side. You know? Like, they can do whatever they want. That's their own experiment. People are like, I don't want to experiment with one of the biggest cities in America. Like, have you been to New York City? It's already the world's biggest science experiment. So just let them cook. Just so you know, I'm not a socialist, okay? Shut the fuck up. And let me finish. Boo, everybody should be socialist in this room. Okay, that was a joke. Listen. They're here. Let me finish the joke, assholes, okay? So you know where I stand politically, okay? I'm not a socialist, and I'm also not Muslim, okay? I am a communist jihadist, and there is a difference, okay? Or jihadi Marxist, that's the PC term. I prefer jihadi Marxist, or Sharia comrade, if you would like. Okay? You happy now? Okay, you happy now? It's funny because I have friends who are socialists, I have friends who are communists, I have friends who are democratic socialists, and like somebody booed me when I said I'm not a socialist, but if you're a socialist, I have communist friends who think you're a p***. You know what I mean? So it's like, so just chill, like just, you know what I mean? Like, and then I have a lot of friends who are democratic socialists, and the communists are like, they're not helping the movement. So that's why I'm a jihadi Marxist. Nobody with me, okay? So that's where I stand. I just like that Zoran is creating waves. And it's insane to me how many far-right commentators, even some centrist personalities online, are just saying preposterous things about the potential of Zoran being mayor. Like, there's people out there saying, once Zoran's mayor, he's gonna bring Sharia law to New York City. Which is hilarious. And aside just from being obviously racist, Islamophobic, and just ridiculous, people are like arguing back logically, like, no. No, he's not. I don't think he is. No. Like, you mother... Not only would that be unconstitutional and nobody's gonna like vote for that, it's just so insulting to just go straight there. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, when somebody says Zoran's gonna bring Sharia law to New York City, you should not be saying, no, okay? When somebody says Zoran's gonna bring Sharia law to New York City, the proper response is Sharia law even that bad? You gotta back. You gotta back. Now, I'm not here tonight to pitch Sharia law to you, okay? I know my face gives you the impression that I might want to, okay? But the thing about Sharia law, I will say, a lot of people don't really know much about it. I even had to do research for this joke. And personally, I haven't lived under it. It hasn't been brought to California yet. Okay. It will be one day, but inshallah.
But
I'm not up here arguing for or necessarily defending Sharia law, but I will say you should know that it has been largely blown out of proportion by the Western world. Our country, we love to blow things up metaphorically and physically. So when you actually Google Sharia law, which I did, you can look at the Wikipedia page for Sharia law, and I kid you not, the synopsis of Wikipedia's take on Sharia law is basically like, bro, Sharia law is not even that bad. That's basically what they're saying for like a whole, this is Wikipedia. They're like, no, you can go out past 3, it's fine. Like it's, apparently there's like levels to Sharia law, okay? But what I'm saying is, whenever you have this discussion about Sharia law in the West, it's always taken to the most extreme position. Like people are always like, oh, you want Sharia law? You just want all women to just cover up? Like, no, what? Like, well, not all of them, but like, what, no. Like, okay, personally, I find everyone a little bit gross, so I would like, in an ideal world, you know, my Sharia would be everybody covers up until further notice. And then once I get a sense of your aura, I'm like, all right, you can chill. You know what I mean? Like that's how I would do things personally, you know. But that's always where it goes. It always goes to the most extreme version. And so then it brings up this discussion. You hear all these people now saying, Muslim values are not compatible with American values. You hear this out there. Like all these commentators are saying around, Muslim values are not compatible with American values. And you know what? They're right. Muslim values are not compatible with American values because America doesn't have values. America does not have values. What values? Where are the values? What values do we have aside from the value meal? A lot of people in America have values, absolutely, but are there any shared values in this country anymore? No, we disagree on literally everything. You could say the one value that we have is freedom, but like, do we? You know what I mean? Like, do we even have freedom? And then if freedom allegedly is our value, freedom is independence from values. That was the principle of this country. It doesn't matter what your values are, it doesn't matter what my values are, we can both, you know, enjoy ourselves because this is a valueless nation. It's because there's this implicit connection. They're like, well, America, we have Christian values. It's like, do we? The whole premise of this nation was separation of church and state, but there's always this subtext of like, the Muslim values don't match our Christian values. But it's like, okay, there's Christians in America, sure, but like, are Christians in America really Christian is the question. The answer is no. The answer is no. Go to an actual other country where there's Christians. We are not Christians in America. It's like Olive Garden Christianity. You know what I mean? It's not real. Doing Christmas is not enough. Most proclaimed Christians in this nation can't even quote a single Bible lyric. Okay? Yeah. I'm calling them lyrics. That should be a sure shot example. The irony is, if you actually know Muslim people, you would know that they respect the Bible. Like, they respect the teachings of Jesus, they consider Jesus a prophet, and they respect the teachings of the Bible. Like, more than my Christian friends. That's why I'm telling all these Christians out there, I'm like, hey, like, you want to actually learn the Bible and appreciate the Bible and love the Bible, respect the Bible? Join Islam. Try it. Try it. Just try it. There you go. Some people are feeling a little alienated. But this is how America was founded. You have to be real with it. You have to be honest about it, because this conversation keeps coming up. People saying that Muslim values are not compatible with American values, and there's no evidence. There's no evidence. Okay, maybe not fasting, obviously. Okay, fasting. I'll give you fasting. I'll give you fasting for sure. I'll give you, that's definitely not compatible with American values in nearly any capacity. That's why I always tell my Muslim friends and family, I'm like, yo, if you want more Americans to join, like, just have a package for them that's like, you don't have to fast just yet. You know what I mean? Like, you can do 5 years without fasting. Americans are like, I'll try it out. You have to be honest. We don't have values in this country. There are no shared values. And so whenever this conversation comes up, people, they only have one single argument. They're like, Sharia law, and all women are going to have to cover up, because in America, we like our women to show skin. Okay, so American values is Hooters, basically. That's what it comes down to. We just want to be able to have Hooters in America, right? Okay, and yeah, Hooters, fun time. Who hasn't had a great time at Hooters, aside from most of this crowd? Who hasn't had a fun time at Hooters? Okay, I look like I work there. Who hasn't? I look like I'm the manager of Hooters. Like, these ladies are trying their hardest today, okay? Give them a break. But hear me out. How about we just try one Sharia law Hooters? Let's just try one. Just one Sharia law Hooters. Just one. You'll only see eyes. It'll be called peepers. Yes. Yes. Come on down to peepers. Okay? You'll have a newfound respect for eyes after you come to Peepers. Yeah. Come for the eyes, stay for the halal burgers. You'll love it. You'll love it. A lot of lamb and goat, you know? That's always where the conversation goes. And it's ridiculous. You can't just let people continue doing this, because they're making Islamophobia just so, like, casual and normal. And I don't even like using the term Islamophobia, because it's like, it's inaccurate, and it's like,
anti-Muslim terrorism is what it is.
ooh, I like that. Hey, let me get the fist bump too. Come on, man. Jeez. It is. Yeah, it is. Anti-Muslim terrorism.
That's exactly.
I like that. I like that. Yes, we're not germ. Yes. I feel like this became a town hall meeting. The whole Muslim population in Chicago. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? While we're at it, we're not germs either. We're for sure not spiders. So precisely, this is why you don't really hear me using the term Islamophobia. Aside from I said it like 2 times. There's not an official word for it yet, but anti-Muslim terrorism is on the table. Okay. If we can truncate some of the syllables, I think we'll have it. Terrorism is a strong. It gets the point across. I would just call it. What's that? What's my take? Oh, hey, I'm running for mayor of Chicago, guys. I like how I go. What? You saying I should not be mayor of Iran? Why are you crushing my dreams right now? I honestly, that was my next venture. Mayor of Tehran. Thank you so much. Is that it? What? What? What's my take on Make Iran Great? Can I finish the bit that I'm doing first? Okay, guys. Yeah, is that okay? Okay. I'm going to institute a temporary Sharia law. Just temporary. Just temporary. I'm now instituting Sharia law in this room. It's like, I can probably continue the set with that talking, but like, I'm worried about when I go home and I go to bed. Like, I'm gonna be falling asleep and he's like, what about Iran? Like, But yes, I don't like the term Islamophobia because I don't think it accurately conveys. It doesn't convey the hate. It makes the person sound more like a victim. I don't like saying that term. We can't allow anti-Muslim terrorism to be so casual. That's why I'm telling you, do not argue logically with these people who are making these nonsensical comments. When people say things like Muslim values are not compatible with American values, it makes no sense. There's no evidence. American values is an empty set. Okay, you can't. It's a math reference. You can't equate a set of elements to an empty set. It's a mathematics thing. So what I'm saying, what you have to do is when somebody says Muslim values are not compatible, well, first of all, compatible, like this is a dating app, you know what I mean? Like, are we on Minder now, you know what I mean? Or formerly known as Minder, now Salam. You're gonna be hearing this for a while, because Zoran's running till I believe November, and then if he wins, you're gonna be hearing it like for a very long time. So you're gonna hear this. You're gonna keep hearing people saying Muslim values are not compatible with American values. And again, don't give these people a logical response. Don't be like, well, in America we believe in all values. Don't say that. Don't all values matter this shit, okay? The proper way to respond when people say Muslim values are not compatible with American values is say, actually, all American values come from Muslim values. Say that, say that, say that, say that, say that. See what happens. Just try it. Have a gun on you. Try it. Oh yeah, this is gonna stir some shit up. But do it, try it. See what happens. I can prove it, actually. I can prove it for you. You look at things that are very iconic American, right? Like for instance, what's America's iconic dessert? American as apple pie, right? Which we don't really eat, but it's for some reason there. You would think the American dessert would be Dubai chocolate at this point. But, which, hate to break it to you, you know where that comes from. So apple pie is the iconic American dessert. Do you know where apples come from originally? Kazakhstan. Apples originate in Kazakhstan. Now, I don't know if you've seen the 2007 documentary Borat, but it really depicts authentically life in Kazakhstan. I'm just kidding. It was a racist caricature, obviously, but why do you think it did so well at the box office? Because that's our heritage. Well, yes, apples are from Kazakhstan, and pies all come from Egypt. Egypt was the first country to be like, let's roll some shit in dough. So apples come from Kazakhstan, and pies come from Egypt. So yeah, American is apple pie. No, American is some Egyptian Kazakhstani. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's our dessert. So there goes that. It's a Muslim dessert. Then there's our music, right? America has essentially pioneered a lot of music genres. What are music genres that we're most known for? Jazz, blues, rock and roll, country, rap music. All of these great musical art forms that we stole from black people, right? 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 And I would argue that rock and roll is the most popular. Country music is also very like prototypical American. Jazz and blues, of course, as well. And what is the common instrument in these musical art forms that we're so well known for? Is the guitar. The guitar. The guitar we always see is kind of all-American instrument, like, right? But the guitar did not come from America, unless you don't know history. The guitar actually comes from what was called the lute, which originates in the Middle East. But the very first string instrument recorded for humanity, like ever, the one that traces the further back, Iraq. Iraq. Yeah, that's why Iraq is actually short for Iraq and roll. You can look it up. You You can look it up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you thought Bush was looking for WMDs? He was looking for Guitar Center. He was trying to invade Guitar Center. They tried to induct Saddam into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Sports, what about sports? Right? What's America's main sport? Baseball. Some people say football, but football is just rugby, and we named it after an already existing sport called football. It's not original at all. Okay? But yes, baseball is an all-American original sport. We actually created that here in the United States, and let's be proud of it for 10 seconds, okay? Yeah, thank you, one person. Do you really think we were the first people to hit balls with sticks? No, there was a bunch of other stickball games, like cricket, or other ones that I didn't research for this joke. Okay? But stickball traces back a long time, and the very first stickball game ever known to humankind traces back to Iran. And that's why they're trying to make Iran great again, because they want to get the birthplace of baseball. Well, that's what they're trying to do. What are you drinking? Huh? Not enough? Oh no, we have a problem. So baseball comes from Iran, and I urge you next time you're at an all-American baseball game to whisper that into the person next to you. To see what happens, you know? Did you know this comes from Iran? Just see what happens. Baseball is an Iranian sport. I mean, ask any professional baseball player, like, how'd you score that amazing home run? He's gonna be like, I ran. That's what I'm telling you. They say it's about nuclear weapons. It's not. They want a regime change-up. You know what I'm saying? So, anything iconically America originally comes from a Muslim country. And those three examples should suffice for everything. So go ahead and spread the word. Now, obviously, I'm poking fun, I'm prodding, I'm trying to provoke, because I think this is so ridiculous that we're even having these conversations. Really, what it comes down to, America lacks values because of the way that it was formed. Like, for instance, you can see this in the way, like, they're attacking Zoran. They're attacking Zoran for the way he eats. Do you see that? He posted a video where he's eating with his hands, like a lot of people do around the world. And you have all these commentators like, I use silverware. You know, like, okay, most people can't afford that. Also, dude, like, eating with your hands is like a very cultural, like, acceptable thing, like, all around the world. In fact, if you don't eat with your hands, you're a bitch, okay? You're a bitch. What are you afraid of? Your own skin? Like, no, there's germs on my hands. Well, then f***ing wash them. And sometimes don't. Build up a f***ing immunity. This is why you can't go to other countries and eat their food, because you have diarrhea. It's because you don't f***ing eat with your hands enough. That's like a culture shock for these people. And you realize this is all because of the way the country was founded, right? Like, we need to be honest about how America was founded. America is classically known as a melting pot, but it was originally a melting pot for white people. Okay? It was a white melting pot. It was a creamy soup. It was a chowder. It was a chowder. You know? You know, it was just chowder, potatoes, and clams. You know what I mean? That's all you could have in the chowder. And now we're mixing other vegetables into the chowder. You know what I mean? And the garbanzo beans trying to get in there too. Pinto beans and the black beans. All the beans is trying to fit into the chowder, man. And the chowder's like, they're turning it into chili. Like, it's relax. It's finally becoming clear that there's a void of values in America. And this comes from the fact that when you think of American values and ideals, it traces back to the Founding Fathers. And the Founding Fathers is one of the most divisive subjects you have in America. There's one camp of people that will be like, the Founding Fathers should be revered, and they had these great ideas, and we should respect everything that they did and not criticize them. They're sacred. The Founding Fathers are sacred. And then there's other people who know a little more history, who were like, yo, the founding fathers were racist slave owners who wanted to build a white supremacist state, you know? And listen, guys, two things can be true, okay? The founding fathers were, in fact, racist slave owners who had a lot of great ideas that changed humankind. Yeah, in fact, I would argue those two things go well together, because when you have someone doing the actual work for you, you can kind of just sit back and relax and think of all these crazy ideas that could potentially change the world. Put them in a laminated binder, sign it. I'm just saying, it's not all black and white, even though it was back then. This joke is not finished yet, but it's 3/5 of the way there. I like how a bottle of glasses was dropped exactly at that time, signifying the crash that joke would bring. So we have to be honest. This country was founded in a way such that we're like, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're white, you join America and you're American now. And so obviously when you do that, people are going to lose their individual cultures, their individual identities. And so as reason, that melting pot that America started with was kind of just, it was a loss of culture. And that's just how it started. We can admit that and be honest about it. But I think it's carried on for too long now. You've heard this myth that white people don't have culture. This is a lie. White people, this is a lie, okay? I'm gonna audition to speak for the alt-right at some point. You have culture, you do. You've been lied to. Yeah, you've been lied to, okay? White people, you are Caucasian. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a real thing. You are Caucasian. You know where Caucasian is derived from? The Caucasus Mountains. You know where the Caucasus Mountains are? The Middle East. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. You're one of us. You're one of us. That's why you put us as the same on the census. I see you. White people are Middle Eastern. That's why you love hummus so much. You love it. You put it on everything now. There's hummus at Applebee's. You love it. It's indigenous to your taste buds. That's why. Yeah. White people are Middle Eastern. It's the same thing. That's why 9/11, inside job, no matter how you see it. And I know there's some smart asses in here who are gonna be like, actually the Caucasus Mountains extend into Russia too. Okay, fine, then you're Russian/Middle Eastern, okay? You're Soviet Arabs, okay? You're jihadi Marxists. All right, now we can talk about Iran.